Good evening. I'm Carla Beard, and this is TV3 News Journal. New Heights Worship Center partnered with the Connersville Police Department, Pacers Sports and Entertainment, and Jack's Pacific Toy Distribution to distribute hundreds of toys here in Connersville. The project took several months of preparation, but on December 17th, the worship center was filled with happy children and grateful parents. Here's more on this story.
We were contacted by Kelly Tolles from the Pacers organization in September. So since then, this is a fruition of 3 months of planning and work and setting up. And
Chief of Police asked if we would host, and I said absolutely. So we've had all these toys here for a couple months.
So today we've got 110 children that are coming, and these are kids that have been referred by several different organizations, Centerstone, schools, all of the elementary schools we spoke to.
On behalf of Pacers Sports and Entertainment, Herb Simon. The Simon family has done terrific things in the state of Indiana. We consider Pacers Sports and Entertainment with the Fever, with the Pacers, as a community asset.
I appreciate everything they do because, like, my family, we've struggled the past couple months. My fiance just started a new job, so we weren't expecting to get this, so it helps out tremendously. The girls will have presents under the tree for Christmas morning.
And the rest of the toys that we got from them, Monday I'll be driving down to Mayfield, Kentucky, to give them to the tornado victims for Kids Christmas down there.
CHS senior Emily Tuttle had an opportunity to talk with the Williams family about the fire at their home and how they are dealing with the apparent arson.
Over fall break, a tragic house fire struck the Williams twins and their family while they were on vacation.
So I got a phone call Friday morning. I happened to leave my sound on, which I normally don't do on my cell phone. Friday morning I was in Riviera Beach, Florida with the twins, and my husband was in Germany visiting his son, and the neighbor over here, Karen, called me and said that my house was on fire.
Jagger is actually half trained as a support dog. He was really going crazy. Never heard that bark. I felt what sounded like somebody was trying to get into my doors. So finally, blindly, I dialed 911 and I said it's an intruder, intruder, intruder. And, you know, they were sending people, and then within like 2 minutes, it stopped. That's when the flames were noticed, and we screamed fire to 911.
I didn't really believe it at the start until like she actually started like freaking out, and I was like, oh, okay, is it actually happening?
So far, my family's still in a bit of shock from everything, and we're staying somewhere right now for a couple months, but we're not going to be able to go home for 9 to 12 months, so it's a long time out of the house. I mean, we just got so much stuff from everybody. There's been so many donations, like furniture, money, food. So, I mean, we're good for right now. We're just trying to mentally recover from everything.
Mentally, that there's somebody out there that's like trying to hurt me and my family, I guess, just because of my skin color. Kind of doesn't sit right. It's kind of just stressful that I have to think about that living in my own house.
The people of Connersville never expected such a horrific incident to happen in our small community. Since the event, the town has rallied around the family.
These are 2 teenage boys on the basketball team, a dad who's on the city council, a mom who is like the nicest, friendliest church-going lady you've ever met. Just like your typical all-American, like Indiana family. And I never expected in my own hometown to see the kind of hate that I saw on Grand Avenue. It happened right before Halloween, and we were gonna have hundreds of trick-or-treaters and their families walking down Grand Avenue, walking past this burned out house with fire scene tape up. I mean, it looked like a haunted house, basically. And so it was just this symbol of hate on my street, just a couple houses away. And so for Halloween, I wanted to make sure that kids who were walking by also saw a positive message. I put a sign up on the front of my house that said, everyone's welcome here, all colors, all faiths, all sizes and shapes. because I wanted kids who were walking by and their families to know that there were strangers that they'd never met before in our neighborhood that cared about them.
What good I hope that comes out of this incident is that people realize that my wife and I and my kids, we're very Christian-like people, and we would like for everyone to, you know, believe and trust in God, and everyone is created equal. There's no black, no white, no red, no blue. We all bleed the same red. And as soon as people realize that we're all the same, the better the situation is going to be.
Moving forward from this, it's just one bad person. We have a great community. They're being really supportive, and I couldn't ask for anything else. I know everyone in Connersville, the majority loves my family and us. So, I mean, just one bad person. We're not going to move. We're not going to let this one person affect how we see the whole community. And there's just been so much love and support, and we're so grateful for that.
Gwen Pugh, pastor at Grand Avenue United Methodist Church, is slated to participate in Best You 2022, a virtual Christian Women's Summit. The free conference is set for the middle of January and includes multiple speakers spread out over 3 days. Gwen shared her enthusiasm for the event with us.
I'm Gwen Pugh, and I'm the pastor here at Grand Avenue United Methodist Church here in Connersville. I've been a pastor since 2006, but I'm also going to be part of Christian Women's Virtual Speakers event. I think the first one that I've seen since the pandemic hit, and so I'm really excited about that. This event is called the Best You 2022, and there's going to be 60 different Christian women speakers, and this is going to be available all over the world. It's not just within our nation. It's free to attend. Anyone can register, and I'm going to look at my phone just because there's 5 different tracks you can be a part of. It's January 13th through the 15th, and spiritual growth track, self-care track, the bold living track, leadership training track, and expand your reach track. And so I'm going to be part of the spiritual growth track, but there's different times, and there's a schedule that you will have access to once you register. Each speaker is giving away a free digital gift of a book or something they've written, and I'm going to be giving away a book that I wrote. When I was married, my husband had Parkinson's, so I wrote a 31-day devotional about for caregivers, Jesus Christ and God, the greatest caregivers of all. I have always had this passion that I want to speak at women's events, to encourage women, to uplift women, to share my story and my journey of faith, of things that I've been through, so that others don't feel alone, and so that they know that God goes with them through every situation. So January 14th at 8 p.m. is when I will be speaking. It'll be a half hour, and then question and answers, and then time for the drawing for the Visa gift cards. And so, yeah, so I'm real excited about it. And then it will be available later. It's going to be live on YouTube. And there will be a link that I will be posting, that I share, I have been sharing, and that anyone that signs up for a ticket, you can access any of these events. It's just one time, register for your free ticket, and then you can access any of the speakers. My topic is refined, renewed, and restored. And so we all go through refining moments in our lives, and those are usually the most difficult times in our lives, where we have difficulties, tragedies that happen, and that kind of thing. For me, I've been through a lot in my life. I could go into a long story about it, but I probably won't now. But the most significant recently was my divorce in 2014 after 33 years of marriage. And so being a pastor, I was out of the pulpit for 2 weeks and then back in the pulpit preaching the good news, but it took me a year before I opened the blinds at my home. And so the Lord has shown me his faithfulness When nothing else was left, there was God. And then the renewing part is where you start opening the blinds and you start seeing the light and you start seeing that life can begin again, right? And then restoring is where you have come out on the other side. You can look back and see where God has brought you and how far he has brought you and the people he has placed in your life. And then being able to share this journey with other women to know that there is hope and that it does not last forever, whatever it is that they're going through. And so that is my passion. That is just one of the stories I'll share. But yeah, I'm real excited about it. I just hope everyone that is available would actually participate in at least one of the speakers, because we are giving of our time. We love the Lord and we want to help. It's the best you 2022. That's the theme, right? And we all want to be the best versions of ourselves, right?
CHS seniors Keaton Oakley and Cheryl Garrison spoke with the Connorsville Street Superintendent about how to deal with winter weather driving.
With snow coming around the corner and having a lot of new drivers here at the high school, it is important to know how to appropriately drive during the winter. So we asked the director of the street department, Brad Coulter, for some tips.
Your vehicle preparation is very important. Make sure you have a good battery, your heat and defrost and antifreeze. Check those regularly. Keep an eye on your tire pressure. Make sure you have good wipers and wiper fluid that's rated to minus 30 degrees. And keep your fuel half full. Reduce your speed. Accelerate and decelerate slowly. Allow extra time when you're going somewhere. Increase your following distance. Keep an eye on the distance of vehicles behind you and don't stop too suddenly. And stay alert and keep your eyes focused far ahead.
In the winter, you should always drive with a little bit more caution. Give yourself a little bit more time to get to where you're going. Take your time, be a little bit more careful, watch for ice. They have what they call black ice. Black ice is where there's no snow on the ground. It looks like wet pavement, but it's actually ice. Checking your car before you leave the house, school, whatever it may be, in colder temperature or bad weather. Always check. First of all, start it up, give your time to warm up, turn the defrost on so you can clearly see out your windows. If not, scrape your windows. Don't ever leave half a windshield where you can't see it. Visibility is the most important. Also, pay attention to your tire pressure. Look for low tires because in the winter months, when it's colder, the tires will naturally drop a little bit in air pressure. If they become too low, that can definitely affect the stability of the car and driving in the weather. Usually with accidents, what we ask is when bad weather approaches, the slide-offs occur, stay calm if you do go off the roadway. Call a guardian if you're a juvenile. Call dispatch. Let them know where you're at, what happened, if you're injured, and if there's any other property damage. If you do slide off, stay in the vehicle. Don't get out and stand by the vehicle because there could be another accident that happens because of your accident. If there is any kind of injury or anything, 911 immediately. First of all, the nature of the injury, the location, and how many cars. We approach it where we expect a little bit more accident. The numbers will go up, especially right now in the fall season coming into winter. Crops are going down. Another thing I'd recommend is largely look out for deer. Deer are running across roads right now. Accident numbers are going up because of deers. Deer can get hit and cause a chain reaction from another vehicle as well. So just give yourself more time. Pay a little bit more attention, slow down a little bit.
The last thing is just drive easy. Easy on the gas, easy on the brake, easy in your turns. Thanks and have a safe winter.
Thank you for joining us. We close our newscast with another story from Connorsville's history. This time, we will look at the life of Sherman Schofield. Here's Brad Coulter looking back.
Hi, I'm Brad Coulter, and this is Looking Back. Born over 211 years ago in 1810, Sherman Schofield came to Connorsville early in the 19th century from Connecticut. His travels came by way of Westchester County, New York. He was one of 5 children of Sylvanus and Ruth Reynolds Schofield. He was married to Elizabeth Milner, who passed at age 32, delivering their 6th child in 1849. He was then married to Eliza Ross for 12 years. He had 4 sons and 5 daughters. Sherman Schofield was one of the best of his time. He built many of the finer buildings of the mid-1800s in our city. One of his better works was the old City Hall on Court Street. It was a 3-story building that housed city offices through the late 1980s. Mayor Lynn Bastian moved City Hall to its present location. It also housed the city police, fire department, and several fraternal lodges over its 140-year history. Through constructed and contracting enterprises, he accumulated great wealth for his time. In 1855, he was named a director of the Connorsville branch of the Bank of Indiana. On January 5, 1857, he was elected a director of the Whitewater Canal Company, a sign of his great standing in our state and city. But by the fall of 1857, a financial setback had hit Mr. Schofield and many others. The Panic of 1857 came about after several years of great growth in our economy. The railroads and real estate had performed extremely well for some time, causing most to continue to invest all their capital in growth and expansion. This brought about a bubble in the economy, not unlike the dot-com bubble and the housing bubble of our times. Sherman Schofield had accumulated a net worth of nearly $60,000 by late 1857. This was equivalent to $1.5 million in today's money. The Panic completely wiped out his whole fortune, as he had many loans due to construction projects he was involved in at the time. In all, he lost everything except his beautiful home on Tanner Street, now West Western, near Harrison Street, now 5th. It is this home still standing that is his legacy. Schofield House was built in 1847. Nearly every landmark we now know was built in the shadow of this fine home. Sherman had an unobstructed view of the canal boats being pulled down the canal from his front porch just 300 feet east. From the cupola or garret atop the house, the sights that have come and gone while it still stands are quite daunting. The canal, 8th and 5th Street schools, Andre Opera House, and most gloriously, the McFarland Hotel are just some of these. It even stood a solid quarter century before William Newkirk decided to construct a new fine home on the hill overlooking the city. It was standing strong when a young man named George Stant started his first shop just down the street. Quite a story that house could tell. The Panic of 1857 and financial ruin was just one of Sherman's problems. In 1860, he lost his wife Eliza, leaving him with several young children to raise alone. He was also a severe asthmatic and with just barely adequate resources to raise his children. It is said this was the beginning of nearly 100 years of Schofield House as a boarding hotel guest house property. Sherman Schofield lived another 17 years until 1877. His funeral at the Christian church was packed with the appreciative benefactors of his life's work. His children, scattered all over the country, lived well into the next century. His youngest daughter, Leona Schofield Hackelman, lived until 1935. She was killed in a horrific fire at her home at 923 Fayette Street. She had just returned home from celebrating Christmas with her family and set herself on fire while trying to light the kitchen stove. She had thrown herself on her couch trying to put out the flames. The couch had burned through the floor and was found in the basement. All the blinds were closed, and it was said much time had passed before the fire was known to the neighbors who set off the alarm. After Sherman's death, the house was lost to the Schofield family. In 1882, it became the property of the Cassidys, and it remained with their descendants until 1937, when the Carl Fisher family purchased it, and it became a guest house for local industry. For nearly 40 years, it was used to house salespeople and executives who were visiting local factories. In the 70s, it became a home again and has passed through several owners. Looking forward, it seems to be well cared for and likely to last many more years. Schofield House has seen many great times locally and some bad ones too, but it still stands stalwart looking to Connorsville's next great day.